Welcome to War Bios, where we delve into the intricacies of military history's most pivotal battles. Today, we're going to explore the Battle of Fallen Timbers, a conflict that marked a significant turning point in the struggle for control of the Northwest Territory in what is now the United States. This battle, fought on August 20, 1794, was the culmination of years of tension between Native American tribes and American settlers, and its outcome would have far-reaching consequences for the region. To understand the events leading up to the Battle of Fallen Timbers, we must first examine the complex web of alliances and rivalries that existed among the Native American tribes of the Northwest Territory. The Miami, Shawnee, and Delaware tribes, among others, had long inhabited this region, which encompassed parts of present-day Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, and Wisconsin. These tribes had traditionally resisted encroachment by European American settlers, who were increasingly pushing westward in search of new land and resources. The Northwest Territory was a vast and fertile region, with lush forests, rolling hills, and sparkling rivers. The Native American tribes that lived here had developed a rich and vibrant culture, with their own distinct languages, customs, and traditions. However, as the 18th century wore on, the encroachment of European American settlers began to disrupt this way of life. The settlers brought with them new diseases such as smallpox and influenza, which decimated Native American populations who had no immunity to these illnesses. They also brought new technologies, such as firearms and steel tools, which gave them a significant advantage over the Native Americans in terms of hunting and warfare. In the late 18th century, a powerful Native American confederacy, led by figures such as Blue Jacket of the Shawnee and Little Turtle of the Miami, began to coalesce in opposition to American expansion. This confederacy was motivated by a desire to protect their lands and way of life from the growing threat posed by American settlers. The Northwest Indian War, as it came to be known, was a series of skirmishes, raids, and battles that erupted in the late 1780s and continued into the early 1790s. This battle, known as St. Clair's Defeat, was a disastrous loss for the Americans, with over 600 soldiers killed and many more wounded. The Native American victory emboldened the Confederacy and led to increased resistance against American settlement in the region. The defeat at St. Clair's Defeat was a major blow to the American military, and it led to a significant shift in strategy. President George Washington appointed General Anthony Wayne to lead a new expedition against the Native American Confederacy. Wayne, a seasoned military commander, was tasked with defeating the Native American forces and asserting American control over the Northwest Territory. Wayne was a complex and intriguing figure, with a deep understanding of the Native American tribes and their cultures. He had served in the Continental Army during the American Revolution and had fought against the British at the Battle of Monmouth. After the war, he had returned to his native Pennsylvania and had become involved in politics, serving as a member of the state legislature. However, Wayne's appointment to lead the expedition against the Native American Confederacy was not without controversy. Many people questioned his ability to lead such a campaign, given his lack of experience fighting against Native American tribes. Additionally, there were concerns about the morality of the expedition, with some arguing that it was unjust to forcibly remove the Native Americans from their lands. Despite these concerns, Wayne set out on his mission with determination and conviction. He spent months gathering intelligence on the Native American tribes, studying their languages, customs, and tactics. He also worked to build alliances with other Native American tribes who were not part of the Confederacy, hoping to create divisions within the enemy's ranks. Over the course of 1793 and 1794, Wayne's army, known as the Legion of the United States, marched north from Fort Washington, present-day Cincinnati, into the heart of Native American territory. The Legion was a well-trained and well-equipped force with over 3,000 soldiers, including infantry, cavalry, and artillery. As Wayne's Legion approached the Maumee River in present-day northwest Ohio, they encountered a series of abandoned Native American villages and crops, which they systematically destroyed. This campaign of destruction was designed to weaken the Native American Confederacy by depriving them of their food supplies and shelter. The Native American leaders, including Blue Jacket and Little Turtle, realized that they had to stop Wayne's army before it was too late. As the Native American Confederacy prepared to face Wayne's Legion, they chose a defensive position near the confluence of the Maumee and Auglaize rivers, where a tornado had ravaged the landscape, leaving behind a tangled web of fallen timber. This location, known as Fallen Timbers, offered the Native Americans a strong defensive position, with the downed trees providing cover and the nearby rivers limiting the Legion's ability to maneuver. The air was thick with tension as the two forces faced off, their war cries and drum beats echoing through the forest. The Native American warriors, led by the seasoned Blue Jacket and Little Turtle, had carefully selected this site for its natural defenses, hoping to exploit the limitations of the American Army's conventional tactics. As they prepared for battle, their faces were painted with fierce determination, their eyes burning with a deep-seated desire to protect their lands and way of life. The fallen timbers, like skeletal fingers, stretched across the battlefield, waiting to snare the unwary American soldiers. On August 20, 1794, Wayne's Legion approached the Native American lines, their bayonets glinting in the sunlight like 1,000 tiny knives. The two forces clashed in a fierce battle, the sound of musketry and cannon fire echoing through the forest as the scent of gunpowder and sweat hung heavy in the air. The Native Americans put up a determined resistance, but they were ultimately unable to withstand the superior firepower and training of the Legion. One of the defining moments of the Battle of Fallen Timbers came when a group of American soldiers, led by Captain William Lewis, charged into the fray, breaking through the Native American lines and sending the enemy into disarray. This bold maneuver caught the Native Americans off guard, their warriors momentarily stunned as the American soldiers poured through the gap like a pent-up flood. The chaos was palpable, the screams of the wounded and the dying mingling with the crash of steel on steel as the battle raged on. As the Native Americans retreated, they left behind many of their dead and wounded, including some of their most prominent leaders. The Legion, meanwhile, had suffered relatively light casualties, with only a handful of men killed or injured. Despite their victory, however, the Legion's soldiers were deeply impressed by the bravery and tenacity of their Native American opponents. The respect was mutual, as Blue Jacket and Little Turtle would later acknowledge the superior discipline and training of the American Army. In the aftermath of the battle, Wayne's Legion pursued the retreating Native Americans, cutting them off from their supplies and forcing them to surrender. On August 21, 1794, Blue Jacket and Little Turtle met with Wayne to discuss terms, and they ultimately agreed to a ceasefire. The Battle of Fallen Timbers marked a decisive turning point in the Northwest Indian War, as the Native American Confederacy was never able to recover from their defeat. As one soldier who fought at Fallen Timbers later recalled, "The Indians were very brave, but they were no match for our discipline and training." This sentiment was echoed by Wayne himself, who noted that the enemy was formidable, but our troops were superior in every respect. Despite the Legion's victory, however, the battle had a profound impact on the Native American tribes of the region, who would never again be able to resist the encroachment of American settlers. The trauma of defeat would linger, a festering wound that would eventually lead to the erosion of their sovereignty. As the Native American Confederacy began to disintegrate, Wayne's Legion continued to assert its dominance over the region, their presence a constant reminder of the crushing defeat at Fallen Timbers. The months that followed the battle were marked by a flurry of activity, as the Americans established a series of forts and outposts, including Fort Wayne, which would serve as a crucial hub for further expansion into the Northwest Territory. This strategic outpost, situated on the confluence of the Maumee, St. Joseph, and St. Mary's rivers, would play a pivotal role in securing American control over the region. The Native American leaders, realizing that their cause was lost, began to negotiate with the Americans, eventually signing the Treaty of Fort Wayne in 1809, which ceded large tracts of land to the United States. This treaty marked a significant turning point in the history of the American West, as it cleared the way for westward expansion and the eventual displacement of Native American tribes. The legacy of the battle can be seen in the numerous cities, towns, and landmarks that bear its name, including the modern-day city of Toledo, Ohio, which was founded near the site of the battle. As historian Colin Calloway noted, the Battle of Fallen Timbers was a decisive victory for the United States, but it was also a tragic defeat for the Native American tribes, who would never again be able to resist the tide of American expansion. The battle marked a shift in the balance of power between the United States and Native American tribes, one that would have far-reaching consequences for generations to come. Today, the Battle of Fallen Timbers is remembered as a turning point in American history, one that marked the beginning of the end of Native American resistance in the Northwest Territory. The battlefield itself has been preserved as a historic site, with a museum and monument commemorating the battle. Visitors can walk through the forest, tracing the path of the American Legion as they charged into battle, and see the fallen timbers that gave the site its name. As they stroll through the tranquil landscape, it is difficult to imagine the chaos and carnage that unfolded on that fateful day in August 1794. The battle marked a significant milestone in the development of American military strategy, as General Wayne's innovative tactics and adaptability in the face of uncertainty paved the way for future successes. His emphasis on discipline, training, and logistical preparation set a new standard for American armies, one that would serve them well in the conflicts to come. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.